Hey everybody, what is going on? My name is PeezInK and I want to welcome you to the channel. Today what I have for you is my first video in my Overwatch lore series. In this video we're going to go over what Overwatch actually is, how it was founded, and what it became and what it is today. Now in the future I will be making individual episodes for each hero to tell their story, their lore, their background, and that sort of thing. Today we're going over the general, the basics, what Overwatch is, how it was formed, what it became, what happened to it, and where it stands today. So sit back, relax guys, and please enjoy. The story of Overwatch occurs in our own world, in a future not too distant from our own present time. It tells a tale of human ambition gone too far and the price we must pay in the end. It tells a story of desperation, of woe, but also of hope and of friendship. Overwatch, as we know it, exists about 60 years into the future, but let's start at the beginning. Roughly 30 years into the future from our present time, the path of humanity has not changed much. We're always trying to grow, trying to learn, trying to excel. Technological advances continue to increase exponentially. We've achieved a world in which laser weaponry, flying personal vehicles, and teleportation technology actually exists. Truly, mankind had reached a golden age of technology. A company called Omnics Corporation had even developed real, genuine artificial intelligence, promising unprecedented economic growth and output for the entire world. Sentient robots were created and manufactured on an enormous scale to increase and improve manufacturing as well as encouraging global economic equality. These robots were named Omnics. They were created in facilities called Omniums, which Omnics Corporation had given their own artificial intelligence, and were built worldwide to distribute the Omnics globally. For years, humans and Omnics lived and worked side by side, and the idea of war began to fade from people's minds as each nation began to experience economic growth. For the first time in the history of humanity, there was peace. Unfortunately, however, all good things must come to an end. Eventually, the Omniums began to break down, and at a pace too fast for Omnics Corporation to maintain global functionality. As suspicions regarding the corporation's claims about such incredible growth and output for each nation and the cause of the Omnium breakdowns began to grow, investigations were conducted. These investigations revealed evidence of fraud, and Omnics Corporation was forcibly dissolved and the Omniums permanently shut down. However, for reasons still unknown, these broken down, corrupt facilities began to reactivate themselves under our very noses. It did not take long before each facility had amassed its own army of Omnics and immediately launched a war on mankind. This was a war humanity was not ready to fight. We've fought wars since the beginning of time, but never against a foe with no demands, with no apparent ideological reason. They simply continued to march against us. Though we've had once praised the Omnics for their resourcefulness and adaptability in regards to economics and manufacturing, they were equally adaptable in combat. Every nation countered with the entire might of its military, yet none were able to succeed in permanently disabling even one of the Omnics. Something had to change. Something had to be done, or humanity would be wiped from the face of the earth. While no nation's military could even secure its own borders, there were a handful of notable strategists and soldiers who excelled in this new type of combat. In secret, the United Nations singled out these individuals and brought them together to form a small, covert team. This team's mission would be to deal significant blows against the Omniums whilst the enemy's focus was elsewhere. These soldiers targeted the command and control protocols of the Omnics, and they were successful beyond even the dreams of the United Nations. In a series of highly classified missions with no small amount of individual sacrifice and heroism, the team finally destroyed everything. With no direction or commands received, entire armies of Omnics fell inactive, and the war, known as the Omnic Crisis, finally came to an end. News of the actions and bravery by the heroes rapidly spread, and the team, called Overwatch, became a thing of legend. Led by Gabriel Reyes, the initial Overwatch team consisted of his close friend, Jack Morrison from America, Reinhard Wilhelm of Germany, Anna Amari of Egypt, Torbjorn Lindorn of Sweden, and another member known as Liao. These became household names, and as recognition and praise for Overwatch grew, people from all over the world vied to join the team. With the Omnic crisis over and the ranks swelling, it was clear Overwatch was becoming more of an organization than a strike force. The UN switched its focus to global stability and created several sub-teams under the Overwatch banner. These sub-teams had varying missions, including medical research, ecological renaissance after the effects of the war, covert operations, and scientific advancement. For decades, the agents of Overwatch continued their acts of heroism, developing medical breakthroughs, conducting rescue operations globally, and even reversing environmental calamity in areas most affected by the war. They were seen as the best humanity had to offer, and the name Overwatch became synonymous with hope. However, as with any government agency, there were those who called for tight restrictions on Overwatch. Critics claimed that any agency made up of such powerful heroes must be kept in check. Even claims of Black Ops-type missions, such as kidnapping and assassination, were made, though the agency denied them as baseless. As time went on, though, more and more people began to cry out for tighter regulations on Overwatch as controversial missions were carried out. Under the aging leadership, unwilling to change, the agency had become little more than a bureaucracy, turning its back entirely on the cries of outrage from the public. The criticism continued to mount, and allegations continued to pile up, and eventually the existence of Blackwatch surfaced. Blackwatch, a sub-team of Overwatch, was responsible for carrying out classified underground assassination, coercion, torture, and other terrible missions. Public distrust reached a peak, and several governments called on the UN to shut the organization down. Overwatch was teetering on the brink, and several of the agents recognized it. They retired, ashamed and disgraced by what Overwatch had become. Before the UN could begin an investigation to dismantle the agency, an explosion rocked the Overwatch headquarters in Switzerland. The explosion was publicized as an accident, though it was in truth caused by a battle between the two lifelong friends, Jack Morrison and Gabriel Reyes. The two original Overwatch members were considered dead, though their bodies were never recovered. Regardless of the truth, the explosion was enough to lay waste to all Overwatch had become, and the agency was dissolved. In the timeline of Overwatch as it is presently, the world continues to turn. Though the warfaring Omnics had been left disabled and inert, those that had been created to promote a strong global economy remain, and an uprising began to take traction promoting civil rights for Omnics. The war, though, had left many people angry, and tensions between humans and Omnics continue to mount. Recently, an Omnic spiritual leader by the name Takartha Mondada was assassinated by the terrorist group Talon, and human-Omnic relations have suffered. It seems we're again on the brink of war. Government officials are brazenly hiring mercenaries to do their bidding, and organizations such as Talon are allowed to operate with no recourse for the people. The world's becoming a scary place, and in the wake of such corruption and risk of war, it may be time that Overwatch be recalled. In a time of such darkness, it may be time that we remember. The world could always use more heroes. Alright everybody, I hope you enjoyed this, my first episode of the lore series. I hope it was, informational for you. I know it's a little bit long, I do apologize for that, but there's a lot to go over. Overwatch is a huge universe, despite very little of it actually being in the game, and I'm just really excited to bring all of this to you guys. So if you did enjoy it, please go ahead and leave a like rating on the video. It means the world to me. Also, subscribe to the channel for more lore videos and more Overwatch content in the future. Thanks so much for watching, guys, and I will catch you in the next video. See ya!